Savior's going to be the blue Zerg at the top right. Two Sky at the bottom left as the teal Zerg. So how is Two Sky going to play this differently? Or will he play this differently? His build might actually, or at least the build he did last time, might work a little bit better. On a map like this, you are pretty far apart. They're also in cross spots, but neither player knows that yet. However, bear in mind that essentially, Two Sky has been humiliated in that previous game. I mean, that is a pretty embarrassing way to lose, especially after you practice whatever build order you were doing, trained with your team for days, sometimes even weeks for matches like this to get slam dunked. I mean, he basically got suplexed. He looked like a total jobber back there. He has to come back and do something. Savior probably feels very confident. Savior was licking his lips pretty wildly back there, hungry to defeat his opponent. First Overlord's going to be out for Savior. Two Sky this time, going for the 9-pull build. Looks like Savior has probably assumed that his opponent might be a little bit more intimidated and play defensively and is instead going to go for an econ build. And it looks like Savior is going to do a similar build to what he did last time. However, he will get the pool and the extractor on 12. And essentially, this build is more economical and safer than the build we see Two Sky doing. So it looks like Savior's pretty much predicted that Two Sky is going to go for a very aggressive build this time. Probably not willing to lose in the same way he did last time, and hoping that maybe Savior will get confident enough to go hatchery first. However, Savior is doing a pretty in-the-middle build. Now the Zerglings are out. I do believe that Two Sky will probably pull his drones off of the Vespian gas. Or he may keep them on there. No, he's going to keep 2 on there instead of 3. And possibly, after he upgrades Zergling speed, get a layer, go 1-hatch layer. Put the second hatchery up a little bit later on. A few Zerglings are out. Savior's build much more economical, although I honestly don't know what Two Sky's doing with the Zerglings. I'm sorry, I have no idea what those Zerglings are doing there. Maybe he wants to wait for his opponent to attack him and then he can counterattack. Okay, now he's regrouping. However, I do believe I just think he pretty much wasted an ample opportunity to possibly rush in there and maybe try to pick on some drones. Savior's now making a sunken colony. Looks like he's going to manage to get up here. Zergling speed is done. He's waited for the Zergling speed. Now moving up here. The sunken colony is out. Savior's going to have to micro pretty carefully. Here come the Zerglings now. And it looks like they managed to get in here. I do believe Savior will hold this off with drone control, although we do see a sizable amount of Zerglings now attacking a few drones. Looks like he's going to get 2 drones, and maybe even 3 drones here. This could hurt Savior's economy quite a bit. Savior already has the layer up, 1-hatch layer, and a Spire already on the way. Savior's going to have to get a Spire out fast. Here's his Spire now. Savior pulling the drones off of the Vespian gas geyser to try to get a few more minerals out here. He needs to collect a few more drones. Bear in mind, though, that Two Sky does not have very many drones. He essentially sacked drones early on in order to get an early offensive. Savior actually, or well, perhaps assuming that his opponent was a bit more intimidated than he actually was, would not attack. Now Savior has 3 drones in the Vespian gas geyser. Both Spires going to finish at about the same time. Looks as though Two Sky's already spotted Savior's Overlord and will follow that with his own so he can hunt that down and pick it off. Since the Spire is at 300 HP, he will probably have to start saving larvae. Now, the issue here, though, is that 2 Sky only has 1 hatchery, so he can't get more than 3 Mutalisks. He'll have to get that Overlord. Actually, looks like he has spotted both Overlords, so Savior's going to have to defend these Overlords so he can keep up in the Mutalisk count. It's going to involve a lot on whether or not these Overlords can survive. Savior needs to keep these Overlords alive. The Overlord finishes right as the Spire finishes. Here it is now. And Mutalisks are beginning to morph. Looks like only 4 Mutalisks. So already outnumber 2 Skies. However, 2 Skies closer to the Overlords. 2 Sky playing this game a lot better than he played the first one. I have to hand it to him. Savior attempting. Looks like Savior got Zergling's speed. He wants to force his opponent to take 1 extra group of Zerglings. Looks like Savior's going to get in here now, knowing that the Zergling count would be a little bit lower. Savior going to back off with his Zerglings. He wants to force his opponent to not use the Mutalisks to get the Overlords. Now, Savior has to make, 2 Sky has to make a critical decision now. 2 Scourge, 2 Mutalisks. I think a wise distribution. He can have 1 Scorch hit each Mutalisk. And I do believe Savior is going to win this. Here comes him with the Mutalisk now going to take out the first Overlord. Savior's on the move now, though. He's going to split all 4 of these Scorch, hit each individual Mutalisk. And Overlord goes down. Looks like he's going to have to micro pretty carefully. 2 Sky not quite doing as good of a job. Here come the Zerglings now picking on some drones. Looks like 2 Sky actually out-microed Savior. Using the patrol button to micro those mutas. And it looks as though Savior is actually going to be expanding towards a location that is very unlikely for his opponent to check, since neither player really has map control with the Overlords. Well, actually, 2 Sky has a little bit of control. He will not hit that Overlord with a Scourge. In case you're confused as to why he's doing that, they need to save the Scourge for the Mutalisks. Both players now attempting to expand. Savior may be double expoing. Maybe that drone is taking a nap. I don't know. Oh! Very nice snipe there with the Scourge, getting the Overlord before it hatched. Or actually, as it hatched. Talk about a crappy life for that Mutalisk. And excuse me, I said it was an Overlord. It was a Mutalisk. I was just testing you. Here we have a few more Mutalisks out here. They are clumped together very carefully. Good Zerg players will always hotkey the Mutalisks with 1 Overlord, because if the Overlord is spaced on the other side of the map, he will manage to get, the Mutalisks will manage to clump together a lot more, making them harder to target fire than the weaker ones. Alright, so we've got the Mutalisks now essentially patrolling around the map. Savior wants to pick off any stray Overlords. 2 Sky knows he has to win this if he wants to come out on top. Here's the battle now, and the Scourge are going to get in there first. Savior did not micro very well, nor did he split the Scourge very well, but I'm not sure who has more Mutalisks. It's difficult to say. 2 more Scourge come into the battle. 2 Sky is really proving that he does have incredible Mutalisk micro. I believe Savior is going to lose this battle. 1 Muta remains. And 2 more Scourge on the way, but I think he can out-micro those Scourge if he controls his Mutalisks well enough. And the Scourge are moving in now. Oh! He did manage to get it. Savior, however, has double expanded, which, to be honest, 2 Sky is going to have to do something about pretty quickly. Getting 2 extra extractors, I should say, will allow him to get ahead in the Mutalisk count. More Scourge on the way, but Savior's going to micro pretty carefully. And looks like he's going to wait for this egg to hatch. 2 Sky sacks 1 Scourge in order to ensure that Mutalisk will not be killed at birth. Savior focusing most of his economy on the Scourge because he is producing a few drones. He's going to use Scourge to try to defend. looks like we're going to have some Zerglings possibly sneak in here. I thought Savior got Zergling speed. Does not look like he did. He's going to back off, though, because he's been spotted by that Overlord. And now look at that Zergling. Complete his mission. Scourge coming in here now, and one Zergling to try to harass the drones. I don't know if it's going to work. Is he going to... Oh, nope. No, it did not. One Spore Colony coming up here. Now watch, can Savior micro as well as Two Sky has this game? No, he cannot. This is turning out to be a pretty late game, Zerg versus Zerg. This is the moment where you consider it late game, is after the expansions are up. While that may seem more like early game to the average StarCraft player. Zerg vs. Zerg at good levels, or top levels like this, is very fast, very unforgiving. More Scourge on the move. And it's difficult to say who's actually ahead. Normally you want to look at how dark the shadows are underneath the Mutalisks. They do look as if they are equally dark, although it appears as though Savior has the higher Scourge count. Is he going to get this Overlord? It looks as though he will. Oh! As he attempted to come up from behind. Unfortunately for Two Sky, he does not have the Mutalisk count. Oh my gosh. Savior is going to dominate. He simply... Oh, Two Sky is completely falling apart, and good game! The Mutalisks are taken out. And well played by Savior, double exploit, getting the second extractor. Savior will move on to the top 16 of the tournament. And his female fans are very happy. And I believe it is about 90% female fans down here today. Two Sky probably disappointed, but he did not play as poorly as he did in that previous game. There's Savior, former #1 Zerg player. The top spot for Zerg is currently occupied by J-Dog. What exciting games. Coming up next, we've got Effort versus Never. A Zerg versus Terran. So please stay tuned for that.